primetime punchlines and NFL paydays. How Deion Sanders turns life's hits into locker room wins. In the world of college football, most team meetings follow a predictable script. A coach walks in, lays out the day's objectives, flips through plays on a projector, and offers a few stock phrases about working hard and staying focused. Then there's Deion Sanders. When Coach Prime has the floor, routine goes out the window. One moment, he's got the room roaring with laughter. The next, he's delivering a truth that hits like a linebacker. It's not an accident, it's his method. And in Boulder, Colorado, that method is shaping more than just a football team. A lesson wrapped in a trap. In one recent Colorado Buffaloes team meeting, Sanders set the stage like a stand-up comedian with a point to make. A video played in the background, a catchy song filling the air. Sanders stopped it cold and turned to the room. "How many people know the lyrics?" he asked. Hands went up. Smiles cracked. The players didn't know it yet, but they'd walked right into Coach Prime's setup. "How you going to know your playbook?" he fired back. "How you know the lyrics that you don't know your playbook? Anything you do repetition. So when we have problems with the playbook, that means you ain't really studying. But you know a song the night it come out." It was vintage Sanders, humor with teeth. A jab disguised as a joke, landing a message about discipline and focus. In his world, success isn't just about talent. It's about the work you put in when no one's watching, the reps you log, the hours you study. And he's not afraid to call out what's holding you back, even if he has to go through a rap lyric to do it. When motivation gets personal. But Sanders isn't one to keep the punchlines confined to football. That same day, he flipped the script again, turning to his staff and players for what he called a feel-good drill. "Somebody give me something special that happened to you this week," he challenged. "Could be anybody on the wall. Could be anybody anywhere." A moment of silence followed, until offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur spoke up. "Sunday was my 35th wedding anniversary." The room gave the obligatory nods of respect. Then Sanders, without missing a beat, leaned into the mic. "Wow. I think Monday was my celebration of my second divorce." The auditorium erupted. Coaches doubled over. Players slapped their knees. Only Deion could pull a line like that, blending self-deprecating humor with the ease of someone who's been through life storms and come out grinning. The divorce that made headlines. For anyone new to the saga, Sanders' split from Pilar wasn't your run-of-the-mill separation. It was one of the most public divorces in sports, complete with custody battles, heated accusations, and tabloid frenzy. Allegations flew in both directions. Years of legal wrangling followed. At one point, Deion won full custody of their children, only for Pilar to later gain primary custody of the youngest two. The tension didn't just live in courtrooms. It spilled into public view, even on the sidelines of their sons' football games, where the two managed to stay yards apart without so much as an acknowledgement. Yet here was Deion Sanders, years later, standing in front of a Division I locker room, turning one of the most exhausting chapters of his personal life into a laugh. Not because it wasn't painful, but because that's how he's always operated. Pain becomes perspective, and perspective becomes fuel. Why it works? This is the secret to Coach Prime's locker room magic. He's not a sanitized, cliche-spouting figurehead. He's lived through the peaks of NFL superstardom, the valleys of personal and professional setbacks, the grind of recovery from life-threatening illness, and the chaos of public scrutiny. And he's still here, not just standing, but thriving and laughing. For players, that matters. They're not just getting a coach. They're getting a man who has walked the road they're on, stumbled, gotten back up, and still found joy in the journey. It makes his analogies stick. It makes his challenges personal. And it explains why his players don't just listen, they lean in. From Boulder to the big leagues, Sanders' influence doesn't stop when his players leave the Colorado locker room. The first wave of his Buffaloes draftees is already making noise on NFL turf. Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback with his father's poise and his own brand of precision, debuted in Carolina with 2 touchdowns in his preseason opener. Travis Hunter, the two-way phenom, and Shiloh Sanders, the defensive back with a knack for big moments. Both made their presence felt early. And then there was the underdog story, LaJohntay Wester. Once considered an underrated target in Colorado's offense, Wester's NFL preseason debut with the Baltimore Ravens was anything but quiet. Wester's statement game. In Baltimore's preseason opener against the Colts, Wester put on a clinic in versatility. First, a 17-yard punt return that hinted at something bigger. Then it came, an 83-yard punt return touchdown that sent M&T Bank Stadium into a frenzy. The rookie racked up 104 return yards, snagged 2 catches for 41 yards, and delivered a highlight 30-yard reception that had defensive coordinators scribbling notes. In a crowded Ravens receiver room that includes DeAndre Hopkins, Zay Flowers, and Rashad Bateman, Wester's ability to impact the game in multiple phases could be his golden ticket to a roster spot. His open field vision, quick acceleration, and economy of movement mirrored the same instincts he flashed in Boulder. The prime effect. Ask Wester where that confidence comes from, and he doesn't hesitate. Man, it was a blessing coming to play with Coach Prime, just having a head coach with that type of swag, that type of player mentality, like they're gonna have to come in here and beat us. He didn't change for nobody. Just his position changed. He pushed me day in and day out. He tested me as a man, as a player, everything. So it was great playing with him. That's my dog. It's no coincidence that his first NFL preseason was filled with the same swagger and freedom he learned under Sanders. That's what Coach Prime does. He doesn't just develop players. He develops mindsets. Laughter, lessons, and legacy. From ribbing players about knowing rap lyrics better than their playbook to dropping a one-liner about his second divorce, Sanders has built a culture in Boulder that thrives on authenticity. His locker room isn't built on fear of failure, but on the understanding that failure is part of growth, and you can still find something to smile about while you're at it. Love him or hate him, Deion Sanders is still one of sport's great originals. He's unfiltered, unpredictable, and unwilling to be anything but himself. And whether it's sending rookies into the NFL with swagger, turning his personal scars into teachable moments, or making an entire team laugh in the middle of a grind, Coach Prime remains exactly what his nickname promises. Must see, can't miss, and unapologetically prime time. Love him or hate him, Deion Sanders is still one of sport's great originals. He's unfiltered, unpredictable, and unwilling to be anything but himself. And whether it's sending rookies into the NFL with swagger, turning his personal scars into teachable moments, or making an entire team laugh in the middle of a grind, Coach Prime remains exactly what his nickname promises. Must see, can't miss, and unapologetically prime time.